No Society, gamer as a whole really didn't focus on its sociological messages. A regular viewer of the movie may see it as a toned-down, more realistic version of the crank concept, with the hyper-editing and focus on violence still intact. Really, the impact these games have on society as a whole is more implied than shown. Some critics may argue this is actually a strength of the movie, since it focuses on these micro-level stories while addressing macro-level issues. Kind of a Chuck Palahniuk approach. A more common name for this storytelling method is postmodern. Viewed by some as ambitious and by others as crazy, postmodern is a movement in literature, film, psychological perspective, and any other medium you can think of. Its basic principle is that it looks at the norms, turns them on their head, and makes something coherent despite that. While it at times ignores certain conventions, including basic grammar, it does have a very strong presence with its audience. Postmodern doesn't play by the rules, because it sees blindly following traditions as limiting and unnecessary. It's that revolutionary spirit, as embodied by authors against romantic subplots, protagonist-antagonist designs, and proper syntax. So in that spirit, let's look at a conventional movie with a very unconventional message. V for Vendetta. Possibly the strongest contribution the Wachowski brothers made to cinema, V for Vendetta is an Americanization of Alan Moore's comic miniseries of the same name. While Moore distanced himself from the film based on disagreements with said Americanization, critics hailed it as, well, revolutionary. So without further ado, let's see why we should remember the 5th of November. Meet Evey, an employee of TV, who's dreaming of social redeeming is sent reeling by an evening with V. And if you found that sentence hard to follow, wait until you hear V's speech.
Voila! In view, a humble vaudevillian veteran, cast vicariously as both victim and villain by the vicissitudes of fate. This visage, no mere veneer of vanity, is a vestige of the vox populi, now vacant, vanished. However, this valorous visitation of a bygone vexation stands vivified, and has vowed to vanquish...
Feel free to pause and consult the dictionary, because there is no shame in learning a new V word.
Voracious violation of volition.
V is the title character who hides behind a Guy Fawkes mask. Who's Guy Fawkes? Well, he was a man who tried to blow up the English Parliament in the 17th century. I'm sure there was a reason behind it, but his intent was not really mentioned in the film. The movie offers a romanticized ideal of what Fawkes tried to do with his radical action. It uses a mask of him as a symbol, showing that an idea powerful enough, one that sticks with the people, can live on far beyond the man who created it. Also, this thing looks awesome. Almost vaudevillian. Excuse me, sir and/or madam, have you seen my straw hat? Also, I seem to be missing my barbershop shirt. November 5th marks the anniversary of Guy's attempt to change the world with a keg of gunpowder, and after saving Evey from the government fingermen, V takes her to a rooftop to share a new 5th of November tradition.
How did you do that?
Wait, here comes the crescendo.
That's our hero. At least in the movie version. In the comic, V is more of an anarchist, and his key motivation is revenge against those that wronged him in the past. Social upheaval eventually became part of the plan when it turns out the party in power caused all of his strife. In the movie, he's still going after those that cause his suffering, but it's more of a sub-point to his main message. How people shouldn't fear their government, but a government should fear its people. I smell a reign of terror approaching. Perhaps that outcome would happen if not for V's almost surreal persona. He's not a greedy man, despite the power his actions grant him. He's dedicated to a universal empowerment of the people, truly and honestly. How in the world does a person resist the power-corruption equation like this? Simply put, a human doesn't. However, important changes made to V's backstory allow this altruistic icon to emerge. Backstory makes the character, and even the slightest tweak can make the world of difference. Isn't that right, DM?
So, you're all calling dibs on the prisoner, just for flesh crafting purposes, right? Remind me again why I allowed you all to be Zamitzi? Suppose you want to be Zamitzi too, don't you?
Not today. I was wondering what you had to say about V's backstory in V for Vendetta.
Movie or comic?
Well, let's contrast the two.
Excellent! Let's begin. V is portrayed in the comics as an anarchist, using extreme tactics and a complex plot to get revenge against those that wronged him in the past. This is also the motivation of the movie V, but his ruthless methods are blanketed in a shroud of lost beauty, creating less an anarchist and more a man of the people, fighting for those who cannot defend themselves, and all in all, adhering to the Batman stereotype.
Well, it is DC Comics, the ultimate one-trick pony in both movies and games.
Now, V may have had the vigilante formula forced on him in the film, but the root cause for the difference lies in the origin story. It outlines a key point, the dehumanizing of V as a character in the movie.
Dehumanizing?
You know, making him larger than life, the way legends are made. Like John Henry, or Michael Jordan, or Jack Stiles, or Leroy Jenkins.
Ah, turning a person into a cultural icon, a classic social construct. Grecian even.
Exactly. How can an anarchist with a revenge plot be spun into a hero with sweeping social change on his platter?
Fudge the details?
Give that man a cookie!
Ooh, I love cookies.
Really? Couldn't tell. In the comics, V was just a simple gardener at Larkhill, a fact which greatly aided his efforts to explode said Larkhill. That action also explains how he would have knowledge to create elaborate demolition devices with nothing but fertilizer, since, you know, he worked with it all the time. However, the simple fact of him being a gardener is never mentioned in the movie.
Yeah, I don't recall V wearing a sun hat ever.
That's because it never happened. But the whole red rose thing makes a hell of a lot more sense now, doesn't it?
Wait, if his tending of that garden ties everything together so neat and perfect, why would they cut it out?
Do you remember a minute ago?
Oh, dehumanizing, right.
If there's a logical reason for the destruction and chaos, it shows maniacal planning, something deliberate and evil that V did in order to escape his fate. Simply by removing the cause of the explosion and painting V as a victim of fate, he immediately becomes a tragic figure, which makes the later attribution of the hero mantle a much easier fit.
So, in other words...
It's DM magic, specifically the retcon spell.
Well, thank you. That actually cleared up the issue well. Have fun with your gang of flesh crafters.
Wish I could. Oh, crap, there's a little girl with the prisoner.
Oh, more backstabs!
You are not making a bonnet out of little Susie.
Now that the protagonist is lined up, let's look at his opposition, the Party. This governing body came into power at a dark time in England's history, where a series of outbreaks and terrorist attacks led to a rise of a radical party, one that promised solutions to all the ills society had borne. It's led by that guy who started in 1984, so you know it'll be a government of the people. Rewriting history and an oppressive, invasive government. This film is 1984 with a superhero. That or a tamer version of Brazil. The government runs sweeps of all personal communications, even conversations in private homes, to get a sense of how to shape the propaganda. After the Bailey is blown up by V, the party panics and begins cracking down on people who support his stance, instead of reworking the ideas V promotes in their favor. Their policy's a bit archaic. It's a wonder their Iron Fist way worked in the first place. Fine people of England, know that these terrorist attacks are bad, so we will kill all potential threats, including ethnics and immigrants. Who's with me? I said, who's with me? Seriously, no takers? This platform was the gold standard in the 30s. Damn it! So we have the good guy, an anarchist, and the bad guy, the Nazis. Who's stuck between these forces? Surprise, surprise, a young hot woman. Natalie Portman plays Evey, a strong and compelling character.
We interrupt this praise of a stock victim to bring you actual analysis of Evey Hammond.
Oh god, gotta make a note to take out that revolving door. It's not keeping anyone out.
We've been kept out long enough. I'm for a PA likey.
Wait, for a PA likey? What kind of acronym? FPAL. Feminist perspective at last.
Glad you caught that. Evey Hammond, one of 3 women in the cast to get more than a single line, demonstrates an interesting quirk. She's described as a great character by many for the strength and courage she displays. But those praisers tend to forget that Evie's bravery early on only came from her can of mace. She's viewed through the eyes of the Fingermen as nothing more than a piece of ass, but by V as a potential asset, though only if she can change her viewpoint to his. Typical.
Oh god, you're gonna bring up the torture scene, aren't you?
Scenes. Torture scenes. At a certain point in the film, Evie's captured, dragged off to a concrete bunker, then put through excruciating circumstances and starvation because she won't share what she knows about V. The truly sick and disturbing part about this is... What is that?
Oh, sorry, forgot to turn off the spoiler alarm. Can't believe I didn't set it off last month. There, fixed. Spoil away.
Evie's tormentor is V. It was all an elaborate setup to destroy her fear by making her go through hell and survive it. Now what's wrong with this picture?
Well, take your pick. The manipulation, the deception, the torture.
First words out of her mouth when she realizes what he did.
You cut my hair. You tortured me. You tortured me.
She just had to mention the hair first, didn't she?
Well, she did have beautiful hair.
She would have bigger issues with him than an unwanted trim at this point. The fact is that she was treated as inhuman, made to suffer because he willed it, and put through these measures for her own good. Doesn't help that this is the only character development shown by a woman in the film.
Hey, V did what he thought he had to.
And you think that justifies it?
Hell no, but he treated her no differently than if she were a he. What happened to Evey could have easily happened to Stevie. Aside from the forced romantic subplot, which annoys me greatly, V does for Evey what another did for him. He was trapped in that very situation, shattered in the same ways, but through the notes from the cell next door, he found an inner strength to carry on despite it all. And here's the kicker, he was inspired by the strength of a gay woman.
So, V's revolution would have failed from the get-go if it weren't for the spirit of a lone woman facing certain death?
V would have curled into the corner and died if she hadn't awoken that hope within him. Is that enough influence from the other gender for her?
Yes, I suppose that it is.
Now let's flip the argument. Why are all the bad guys in the movie men?
What?
Obviously some corrupt women were in the ruling party as well, just like the Doctor, except they're never shown. Just the evil men that continue the oppressive ways of the ruling party and rolling the tanks down the way and, oh, Tiananmen Square, huh? We'll do them one better.
Now you're just being ridiculous.
Stereotypes go both ways.
They do, but history's damning your gender because, yeah, rich white guys usually do run the corruption.
Okay, I'm losing this argument no matter what. History is clearly against me. Thanks for your input, Fora.
Anytime, Socio. Hey, tell the DM I'll be a little late for this week's session.
Okay. Wait. You roleplay. Like, with our group.
Oh yeah, Psycho and I joined the group months ago. Where have you been?
How long have I been gone? Now that the players are explained, let's talk about what brings them together. V celebrates the 5th of November with a bang, but the government spins it, claiming the demolition was planned. They are the voice of all media in the country, so this seems like a foolproof plan. It is, until V hijacks their national broadcast system and spreads his own message. I melt whenever V speaks. Here's a reason why.
Because while the truncheon may be used in lieu of conversation, words will always retain their power. Words offer the means to meaning, and for those who will listen, the enunciation of truth. And the truth is, there is something terribly wrong with this country.
I want his speechwriter tonight. V not only decries the government's spin on the Spin Network, but announces his next target and the time that he'll attack it. Bold confidence mixed with uncomfortable truths the public can relate to makes it a very effective persuasion. How will the government respond?
Authorities have uncovered new evidence linking the terrorist organization called V to the St. Mary's viral attack on London 14 years ago.
Poorly. Instead of subverting the message, they attack the man who's saying it. Not a very wise strategy, because the problem here is people have identified more with the masked man now than the ruling party. The extreme opposition against V actually helps strengthen the resistance movement. It's a perfect example of Simmel's external conflict, internal cohesion principle. Oh, cool. Kind of worrying that hasn't shown up sooner. V plays the political game well, turning party members against one another for a full year and setting the scene for a perfect ending. Those who have seen the movie before may note I'm only mentioning about a quarter of the plot, but if I talked about everything I wanted to, this review would be an hour long. So instead, here's some quips from the middle. A real badass can make a punch to his own face hurt the attacker. V is 5. Oh, unintentional foreshadowing.
It's like I could see the whole thing. One long chain of events that stretched all the way back before Lark Hill. I felt like I could see everything that had happened.
Almost like a montage. If you want context, watch the whole movie. Now on to the ending. V played his hand well, turning the government hound against its owner and taking the new Hitler out of the picture. Then, when this right honorable gentleman and his gang of thugs turn their sights on V, another awesome speech occurs.
We've swept this place. You've got nothing but your bloody knives and your fancy karate gimmicks. We have guns.
Now, what do you have are bullets, and the hope that when your guns are empty, I'm no longer standing, because if I am, you'll all be dead before you've reloaded.
If you haven't caught the subtle clue yet, V's dialogue is great. Exceptionally articulate, sophisticated yet threatening, and extremely logical. That's a 10 out of 10 persuasion right there. Of course, it's strengthened by the fight seconds later.
I got something to say about this!
Oh, hey, Kelvin. Listen, I think I know what you're gonna say here.
Oh my god! Did the dude give me the second powers again? Who's it?
No. Wrong. I just think you're gonna point out what an awesome fight scene this is.
Oh, that's that, yo. That's as obvious as saying the moon's made out of cheese. Everybody know that.
Okay, then I'll just step back and let you go to it. What's wrong with me today?
Oh, sweet, yo. Hey, why don't you give me some louder numbers? Wait, yo. This is gonna take a while, you know. Do the thing.
I'm not psychic. Go.
This scene represents an important historical fact in movies. The Wakasasha brothers wrote this, just like the famous Matrix trilobite, and improves upon the existing concepts within the franchise. Some call it a running theme, but it addresses the important principle that affects everyone.
Yeah, I actually see where you're going with this.
I knew you had the psi powers, yo. Like a clairvoyant, yo, but no degree.
You're going to talk about the social revolution motif continued throughout all of their work, how periodic upheavals are not only the norm, but necessary for the growth of society.
Man, you be way off the mark there. Like anyone proud of their creation, the Worcestershires hone their idea into vivid actualities, with subtle things creating an awe-inspired impact. That explained to me the awesome evolution of bullet time.
What?
First there was the bullet time. Then there was the fist time. And now there has the knife time.
You want to talk about the filming techniques behind slow motion? Really?
Oh, hell no, yo. That'd just be a big old waste of time for everybody. I here to talk about the continued illustrations of aerodynamics.
Why are we talking about aerodynamics?
You see, class, as an object moves through the air, the molecules part around it like the Red Sea around a gangster named Moses.
Oh God, not again. Wait, you had a cap last time. Where did that go?
Oh, the cap, that cap was left over from the celebration. Got my lucky 7th degree. Anyway, where was I? Ah, yes, aerodynamics. From the Greek word aero, which means pointy thing that flies and has a shaft.
Oh, hey, sorry, Professor. Emergency call from my cat. Gotta take this, so here. Bye.
No attendance points for the Spaniard this semester. Again.
With the chain of command missing, no one's there to give the order to fire on every single person in London. So the military backs down at the last moment, allowing everyone a front row seat for V's victory. In the end, he does what Guy Fawkes failed to do hundreds of years before, but made blowing up a government building nation-changing for positive reasons. That's the impressive part of this movie. V for Vendetta takes what could have been just another comic adaptation and pushes it beyond what the audience expects. It challenges us to challenge the status quo, to question authority we judge as oppressive or self-serving. Also, it's just damn great. Great story, great pacing, great acting, great movie. See it again. Right now. Seriously, go! I'll be waiting for your report in my inbox at theothersocio@gmail.com. Subject heading, Why V for Vendetta is Great, the report. You have until the 5th of November next year. I'm the other socio, and I don't have a sign-off.
As the object travels through the air, the molecules don't get out of its way because they're scared of it, because it's a flying airway, it's going to kill them.
Aerodynamics, results of fear.